Hey Geeks, I'm Trey Guillotine, and today I'm speculating on some possible DLC and sequels to Mass Effect Andromeda. Let's geek out. I will be talking about some major story spoilers for Mass Effect Andromeda, so here's your spoiler warning, you have been warned. It's kind of hard to believe that Mass Effect Andromeda has only been out for a couple weeks, because I've already beat the game. I've sunk 85 hours into just my first playthrough alone, and now I'm on to my second playthrough. There's so much to do, so much to see. I did as much as I could in my playthrough, so it's hard to believe that that only took place over a couple weeks. I feel like it's been out for at least a month. But already we're talking about changes and fixes and possible DLC and sequel coming out for Mass Effect Andromeda. But as of yet, aside from the fixes that they've mentioned as well as some customization options and dialogue choices, no information has been given on the DLCs that will be coming out for Mass Effect Andromeda. But as of now, there are a few loose threads that could easily work into some DLC content or be taken up again in a Mass Effect Andromeda sequel. But I think it's a safe bet to expect that whenever they do have some DLC content, whatever the story may be, we can expect new planets or areas or even new squad mates, either temporary just for that DLC, like they did with Mass Effect 3, or new full-time squad mates that'll be on your ship that you can interact with throughout the entire game, like they did in Mass Effect 2. Mass Effect Andromeda already has a pretty decent number of planets that you can fully explore that have tons of mysteries, one of them being Eladin, which is the new Krogan homeworld where they have their Krogan outpost of New Tuchanka or New Chanka. I think New Chanka is a way better name than New Tuchanka, but whatever, they decided to name it New Tuchanka, and I always correct them and say New Chanka. But on this planet, there's this mysterious, more than likely remnant tech giant worm, and this isn't the Eladin architect. The architect is a separate thing on that planet. But this worm dives in and out of the sands of Eladin, but there's nothing else to really do about it. You hear about it a lot, you hear about people going after it, but there's no mission for it, there's no real fight for it. If you just happen to be where it is and it crashes into you, you'll probably die. But that's really the only interaction there is. But it's such a big feature and big mystery of the planet. This would be a great story element to introduce some DLC, either a new area of Eldin, and this story about what this giant worm is. On the Nexus, in the game, there is a side quest line that you investigate the murder of Jean Garson, who is the founder of the Andromeda Initiative with help of Ryder's father, Alec Ryder. Originally, at the beginning of the game, you're told that Jean died when the Nexus encountered the Scourge and that she never woke up out of her cryosleep or saw any of the Helios cluster, but then you find out that's not actually true. At some point during the chaos of the Nexus arriving and hitting the Scourge, she was able to get out of her cryopod and made it to an apartment that was set aside to her with a secret room full of surveillance and information, and all of this leads to you discovering that Jean was actually murdered, and in her final moments was trying to leave a message for Alec Ryder when he arrived. The other side of this side quest is unlocking memories through Sam, the AI that accompanies you and that accompanied Alec Ryder when he was alive, that gives you access to seeing some of Alec Ryder's memories, a lot of which dealing with Jean Garson and this mysterious benefactor. Apparently, the Andromeda Initiative was running out of money, and this mysterious benefactor came in, gave them the money they need, as well as resources and personnel. But as of now, we have no idea who this benefactor is. There's no real clues or information hidden that I saw. Maybe there's something I missed or something that I didn't hear right as to who this benefactor could be. As this is a side quest that's so ingrained, that's so, I think, monumental to the arrival of the Andromeda Initiative to the Helios cluster in the Andromeda Galaxy, this is something that definitely needs to be explored and fleshed out in some kind of DLC. In my last Mass Effect Andromeda video, I talked about how I think Cerberus probably has a hand in the Andromeda Initiative, and with this mysterious benefactor, I'm like 97% certain. I mean, I'm not going to say 100% because I could be wrong, but I'm pretty damn certain that this mysterious benefactor is the Elusive Man or some other high-ranking operative in Cerberus. And that while the Elusive Man was planning on controlling the Reapers and getting indoctrinated, there were other cells of Cerberus who are probably just as manipulative as the Elusive Man, using the Andromeda Initiative as a way to escape the Reapers. But that still leaves the question of why the benefactor, or whoever it was, we believe it's an agent of the benefactor, or even the benefactor him or herself, who killed Jean Garson. We don't know why, we don't know what motives there would be for that yet. So this kind of murder mystery, as it involves the murder of Jean Garson, who was supposed to be a monumental figure in the Andromeda Initiative, as she's the creator and founder of the Andromeda Initiative. She was obviously supposed to have a big role in the initiative, but was killed very early in arriving into the Helios cluster. So I definitely think this needs to be something fleshed out in DLC. As for thinking at Cerberus, there are a few other side quests that do involve ex-Cerberus operatives, and you get kind of their backstory and some of the dealings that were going on with Cerberus outside of Shepard's mission to destroy the Collectors of Mass Effect 2. You get a little bit more context about why they're there, why they joined the Andromeda Initiative, and what it is they're doing now that they're in Andromeda. Something else you uncover in Alec Ryder's memories is the fact that Alec Ryder brought along Ellen Ryder, his wife, the Ryder twins' mother, who was dying from some kind of condition from her work with biotics. You find out that he put her into cryosleep, and that paused her illness and brought her with them to the Andromeda Initiative, but under a different name, so no one knew that it was Ellen Ryder. You find this out, and that you now have a chance to find a cure now 600 years into the future with some of the best minds of the Milky Way galaxy, as well as the Angaran and some of their best minds. You discover that there's a chance that you could cure her illness and that she could come back out of cryosleep. I doubt this will be something brought up in DLC, and this will be something more reserved for a sequel. But this is near the end of the game, and something else you discover after beating the game in kind of the last moments of the story mission is that you get a signal from the Quarian Ark, which, again, you find out very early in the game that the Quarian Ark was meant to leave around the same time as the other 4 Arks did, but they had some technical problems because it wasn't just Quarians, they were also bringing Drell, Hanar, I think another race, but I can't remember what the other race was, but they were bringing multiple species, and as Quarians already have major health risks, trying to accommodate for those other races caused some complications with the Ark, and they were delayed. Up until the end, I just thought, well, they probably didn't make it at all because the Andromeda Initiative left shortly before the Reapers invaded the Milky Way galaxy, or if they did, they left after the events of Mass Effect 3. Either could be possible. That maybe the Quarian Ark escaped made an escape of the Reaper invasion to get to the Andromeda galaxy, or maybe they were changed or witnessed the after effects of the Reaper War in the Milky Way galaxy and can kind of share something and kind of share what happened afterwards once they get to Milky Way. But the message that you receive from them is that they're in trouble. Being their launch was so close to the Reaper War, this trouble could be maybe something that happened as they were escaping, or something that followed them to the Andromeda galaxy, or it could be something completely new when they arrived in the Andromeda galaxy. This new danger could be a part of the Ket. One of the I guess mid after credits scenes that you see is the character of Primus, who is like a Ket envoy who works with the Archon but represents the greater Ket Empire. The Archon is not the leader of the Ket. He's just one of the big high ups of the Ket, and he came to the Andromeda galaxy and the Helios cluster and became obsessed with remnant tech against the wishes of the Ket Empire. There's actually a side mission where Primus reaches out to you and is like, hey, the Archon's not doing what we want him to do, so I'm going to give you the upper hand if you make a deal with me. And you're like, well, you have the decision to either say, sure, I'll help you out, or f*** you. I don't know if that decision or other decisions made in the game changed the way that the after credits scene looks. For me, it was just Primus looking real pissed off, walking away from viewing the Helios cluster in the Andromeda galaxy. But I have a strong feeling that he's going to be involved in either DLC or what's more likely a sequel when you encounter the greater Ket Empire. You don't find out a lot of how the Ket Empire works aside from their ultimate goal to exalt all of these species to become Ket. So I think it'll be really interesting because Primus wasn't as much of a brute force leader as the Archon was. If Primus or someone else comes in as the Ket and they're a little more diplomatic, they're a little more scientific, they're a little more strategically thinking than the Archon, who is just kind of brute force. But Primus and the Ket would make a great villain for a Mass Effect Andromeda sequel. And one last mystery that you discover towards the end, the origin of all this remnant tech and the Angara and the Jardoon, who were this advanced alien species who didn't so much disappear, they left. You know they left. They at least left the Helios cluster. We don't know if they left the Andromeda galaxy, but they left the Helios cluster because they were threatened. We don't know what that threat was, but we do have a feeling, but we have a strong feeling that it involved the Scourge, which is kind of the energy space cloud tendrils that disrupt a lot of the ships and make traveling in the Helios cluster dangerous. there could be some Jardoon DLC coming forward, or they could save this for a sequel, or even a threequel if they decide to go that far. They've said that they haven't planned Andromeda to be any kind of set series, if it's going to be a trilogy, or a quadrilogy, or a quintilogy, or is there like a dozen games that's like an illogy? That they're just kind of letting it grow as it does. What would you like to see in Mass Effect Andromeda DLC or in a sequel? Let me know in the comments or on any of the social media, and follow me on all the internets. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and check out my Patreon to support more of my future content. Check out templeofgeek.com, your one stop for all things geek, and subscribe to my channel to geek out some more. Thanks for watching and have fun. So Captain America, Thor, Hulk. So Captain America, Thor, Hulk.